Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Whiskey Wednesday Show with your hosts Ken Tizzard and Music for Goats. Brought to you in full color and stereo sound with amplification provided by Trainer. Broadcasting into the world from Storyhouse Studios in Campbellford, Ontario, you'll hear the best of old country, folk, Americana, punk rock, and 80s music delivered into your homes every week for free. And don't forget your regular dose of new and original songs from Music for Goats. Never be alone on a Wednesday night again, 8 p.m. Eastern and 9:30 for those of you in Newfoundland. Join the Whiskey Wednesday regulars on Facebook to be a part of the conversation, or watch on YouTube as well. Pour a drink, a cup of tea, or a nice cold long tooth. Roll up your best smoke and sit back and relax. Don't forget to hit the share button to help spread the word. The Whiskey Wednesday Show, every week. Cheers. Roll up your favorite smoke and sit back and relax. I love that line. That's a great one. That's a great one. Hey, there's a new kangaroo. Look, it's all of us.
Ooh, it's
all of us. And you can even see Barry if he leans in just a little bit. There we go. Hey, Barry. We got all four of us. Oh, that's a good-looking shot. Allison, so I spent a bunch of time last week getting everything together, like hours and hours. I unplugged everything. I replugged everything back in, and it was great. Things were moving really well. And then we had the show last week, and then after Allison said it was a little too dark. So I had undercalibrated some of the lights. So we're making some adjustments this week. So here we are now. Look at that. You can see everything. Oh, so nice. Thanks to Allison for being so particular with me. It makes such a difference. It really does. Rich, Tony, Ed, nice to see you. Jeannie, Anthony, Joe, Deb. Oh, what a great crowd we've got out so far. We've got a really good show for you tonight. We're going to help you guys get rid of the next 70 minutes of your life or so. Forget about the world, forget about all the craziness that's going on, forget about all of it. Let's just watch a couple of old musicians play some tunes and talk randomly about drunken facts. Fact number 1.
Yes.
Neil's new guitar is pretty.
Yeah, it is.
It's not actually a fact, because that would be an objective.
No, it is. Well,
or is that subjective?
Right. No, it's entirely subjective.
Subjective, not objective. Right. Objective would mean that there would be a scientific study done and it proved that it was pretty.
Exactly.
See, this is what we're doing with facts here today. We're talking about facts.
It's going to be a long night.
I got to go away this weekend. I got to go to Winnipeg with the Watchmen, which I'm excited as hell to do. And we've got GMH opening up for us. GMH tunes in pretty regularly, Gregory. So I'm happy about the weekend. I'm not happy about having to get on a plane. Not happy about having to travel. Not happy about having to leave the house. But there's other things that are trade-offs for those. Anyways, it's been a stressful week for me so far, ladies and gentlemen. You know how I get anxious about this stuff. Extremely anxious.
That's why I go along, just to hold your hand.
Exactly. Don't know what I'd do without it.
Go by yourself?
I did that for a long time. It's hard work. This is a song about putting in too much hard work. Seems like every meal he's ever eaten has come at the cost of a song. Not to say he ain't been hungry for those times you sang along. In his house made from many doors, the address changes day by day. Been rambling round this world, killing time along the way. It's a long way to travel and $1 for a song. Well, another time behind and another comes along. His boots are feeling heavy standing on another stage. Fire in his bloodshot eyes again today. And for every girl he's ever loved, whose kindness helped him find his way through fumbling, tumbling, rolling nights to bring colors to the gray. Another lonesome sunrise just ahead. His clothes are scattered on the bed, and he's stumbling across the floor, and he's heading for the door. It's a long way to travel and $1 for a song. Another time behind and another comes along. Boots are feeling heavy standing on another stage. Fire in his bloodshot eyes again today. You are breaking from this road. So much story still untold. Doesn't matter what you say, He's been doing it all his days. He's an old dog and you'll never change his ways. When he dies out on that highway and you check to find him cold, just pull the old truck over, roll him off beside the road. For his life's been filled with many riches found upon this stage. When he gets his call to glory and he knows his dues are paid, there's a long way to heaven and $1 for a song. Another time behind and another comes along. His boots feeling heavy standing on another stage, fire in his bloodshot eyes again today. You won't break him from this road. So much story still untold. Doesn't matter what you say, he's been doing it all his days. He's an old dog and you'll never change his ways. For you to start the show off tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That was written during my time in Ottawa, I think. Although I think I started writing it a little while before that, but different thing when it's written in my head and when it actually comes out. Speaking of which, we're going to attempt a new song today, which I'm excited about. I wanted to say a special shout out tonight to Steve Runyons. Steve's been in hospital now for about 3 weeks, and he's getting better all the time, but it's been a really, really rough go. Steve's a local guy, for those of you who don't know, local musician and music promoter. He's been doing amazing things at the Legion for the last couple of years, basically turning that place around. My relationship with the Legion there before Steve got involved was that I did not go in there anymore, just because of things that had happened that I didn't really appreciate, but when Steve when Steve started working with the bands in there a few years ago, you know, making sure there's good PA in there, making sure there's lights in there, making sure there's a stage in there, making sure the bands get paid a little bit, making sure that, you know, the good sort of touring cover bands that he brought in, you know, the AC/DC band and the Tragically Hip band and all those bands, making sure they got paid and making sure everybody was taken care of. He did a great job at it, and he's been doing a really good job. So, but he recently took ill, and he's down in Toronto. So, been thinking a lot about you there, buddy. I hope you're getting well. And there's a bunch of we're going to put together a fundraiser for you in a month or so. Justin Cooper reached out to me about putting something together, so we're going to work on that. Help our buddy Steve out. Okay, it's weird, you know, the new songs, some of them, the lyrics, just like the one that I wrote last week that we just played and learned, like the lyrics are almost in my head already. It's just there. Barstools and Broken Hearts, this song's been kicking for years, and I still can't, even with the new arrangement, the new words, it's just like one of those things. It's like, good Lord, I gotta get my head together on this one. But anyways, this is another one of those new songs in the works, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fun little thing to do, taking you guys on the ride as things happen. There's a song called Barstools and Broken Hearts. It goes just like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Broken mind and broken body, coming home to find the life and love before the war turned cold and broke down over time. Broken family and broken love, tangled stories made up of the time you were away. A broken soldier's heart replays. Stop pretending there's a war outside. Don't pretend to be a truth from days gone by. It's just bar stools and broken hearts, another night to fall apart. Puzzle pieces in my head, another stranger in my bed. It's just bar stools and broken hearts, another day, another start. To face the truth and climb that hill, another prayer unwinds. Alone with the truth is the hardest time to kill. Broke job and broken dreams, a little too old it seems. The life you thought you'd have lives only as an illusion now it seems. Broken wallet and broken dreams that put you in your place. The whiskey, drugs and cigarettes are filling up that empty space. Stop pretending it's just the way things go. Don't pretend to be the lies that we all know. It's just bar stools and broken hearts, another day and another start. To face the truth and climb that hill, another prayer unwinds. It's just bar stools and broken hearts, another night, another start. To face the truth and climb that hill, another prayer unwinds. Alone with the truth is the hardest time to kill. Promises and broken truth. The radio plays songs from our youth, the bands that we both loved. Twisting words we spang like morning doves. Broken world and broken people trying to get ahead. The sympathy that we all need for all intents gets left for dead. Stop pretending there's a war outside. Don't pretend to be the lies from days gone by. It's just bar stools and broken hearts, another night to fall apart. Puzzle pieces in my head, another stranger in my bed. It's just bar stools and broken hearts, another day, another start. Face the truth and climb that hill, another prayer unwinds. Alone with the truth is the hardest time to kill. Go. Nice little version of Barstools and Broken Hearts. Okay, there we go. I remembered almost all the words that time. I think I got like 92% of them. That's not bad, even though I'm still reading them. No, actually, I'm not looking at them much at all. That's good. How was everybody's weekend? Yeah? What did we do on the weekend? What you get up to, Dave?
I went up to Halliburton and met up with some, I guess, childhood friends almost.
Up in Halliburton?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I first moved to Ontario in grade 7 from Quebec, they were like the first group of friends I hung out with and made here, and
Well, that's kind of
been
nice.
tight ever since.
Nice.
So I went up there to see Tony and Nick and John, and Tony's up there with Sanjay now. So if y'all are watching, hey Tony.
Very cool. You guys smoke some weed?
We did.
Yeah, good.
Maybe no.
Yeah.
And then you tried to pronounce the name of the longest lake name ever.
No, but I did go and try to get to the camp that I used to work at when I was younger. Is like right almost the lake over from him.
Oh.
So I went there with my buddy John, who I've known forever, obviously, and he used to come up there and visit me when I worked there. And we got there, and the gate was closed, and we then found out through asking people. We drove around all the way to the other side where the other camp was, like the rich camp on the other side of the lake, and asked them, hey, we were trying to get down to Camp Samak. What happened? And like, oh, we bought the whole lake. I'm like, you bought the lake? We just wanted to go down and paddle and check out, where I used to go.
Not a chance?
No.
Hmm.
Turn this right around. Sorry,
Nice.
can't do that. So
Wow.
we got back in the car and drove back to Tony's cottage, and
Wow,
that was that.
I mean, it's a good story. It's just not a great content, you get turned away. I remember when I went home to Newfoundland a few years back, I thought, I'm going to go visit my old schools. I had somebody's car and I had some time off. And I went out and I drove around. I went into my old, it was back home, it was 1 to 6, 7 to 9, and then 10 to 13 or whatever they had whenever you went there. So I wanted to go to visit 7 to 9. That was like my middle school, right? I thought that'd be cool. So, I went. It was, I walked in through the front door and walked by the principal's office, and somebody kind of stuck their head out and was like, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I just kind of want to walk around and, sort of, I used to go here." And they said, "No. No, you can't just come in and walk around." I said, "I want to see my old locker and stuff." They said, "No, you're some creepy old man at this point." I never thought about that, though. It's like school safety. It makes sense, I guess.
Is that what they thought of me? Or thought of us?
I don't know. I mean, it's I would have thought that they would have ingratiated back alumni, but it didn't seem to be the place.
No.
Cassie's back to Kingston, and her and Caitlin and Matthew were home for a couple of days. Caitlin and Matthew always take on projects, so we expanded my record collection. Cassidy. Yeah, sorry, did I say Caitlin? Oh, sorry. Cassidy always expands, helps me with things, so we expanded my record thing. So I've got a picture of the fireplace there, Barry. The dogs took the second shelf, of course, but see, all my records are up on the top of it. But
actually, the dog on the left of the picture is actually a cat.
Yeah, the dog and the cat. Yeah, sorry, the dog. They're both dogs to me. That's my two dogs. But yeah, we took the fireplace insert out and put it out into my little shed, and then we got 2 extra shelves, so I got lots of room for new records now. So that's exciting. And the cat and dog seem to enjoy the entire process as well. Also, speaking of records, there's this new wave of, I don't know if it's a new wave or not. I've heard that there's been some changes to the ownership laws of live recordings now. I don't know any of the details, so I'm not even going to comment on it. But I have been seeing a bunch of these new live records coming out that I'm realizing aren't actually from the artists or even their labels, but they're great records. Now this one I'm not sure about. I bought this one. I picked this one up in Kingston recently. It's a Cure, a night like this, and recorded in. It says live at the National Exhibition Centre, Birmingham, UK, 1985, September 20th, FM broadcast. I don't know what that means. It's on Dear Boss Records, which is made in the EU. I don't know anything about it. I don't know who's putting it out, but it's a great fucking album. I put it on the other night, and even Allison, when I was going to bed, Allison was like, "What is this? This is amazing late night music." Sinking was playing, and Allison got totally grooved with the bass. But anyways, these records, like I say, I don't know the legalities and the moral implications of buying them if they're not actually from the artist. But I've been finding a lot of them, and they're pretty groovy. Even the one behind me tonight is the Minor Threat. Again, I don't know where that one came from, but it's a live show. It's got 30 odd live tunes on it. And then on the second half of the album, I just discovered last night, it has the first Minor Threat record, my favorite Minor Threat record. It has the entire demo session of the entire record. I listened to it last night. It was just some of the tunes are totally different, and others are bang on. But it's so great to be able to find this stuff. I mean, I do hope the bands are the ones behind putting it out, but you never know. And Cassidy had a story, and I'm not going to say who it is until I do a little bit of investigating, but Cassidy went into a record store looking for a gift for Caitlin. She was looking for Taylor Swift and Tyler Childers. Pretty good selection for that age group, I must say. Went into a record store in Kingston, and they told her they said, "We don't carry that stuff here. You should check out Urban Outfitters." And Caitlin Cassidy, she was just like, "What the fuck? Fuck you." And she said, "I'm never going to that place again." I told her to go there. So I got to see exactly what happened there, but that's not cool, man. The days of High Fidelity with John Cusack. No. That was a cool movie and stuff, but I don't know. Those record stores, you got to be nice to people. You can't say shit like that.
And you're not John Cusack.
I don't think it's cool. Was that John Cusack in High Fidelity? Yeah. Tony Arkell, nice to make it. Good to see you. Hey, Joe. GMH, stoked for the weekend. So am I, my friend. Stevie Runyons, there you go. How you doing? Mikey Steenberg, new back brace is helping. That's great. Oh, nice. You got to see your brother and his wife, and oh, good for you. Good for you there, Mikey. GT Mike is living his best life, ladies and gentlemen. Flying Monkey and Cherry Whiskey Sour for Tony Arkell. That sounds all right. That sounds all right. Oh, Jillian, nice guitar, Dad. See?
Thank you.
I know. Jeannie, it's going to be great to see you. Jeannie, send me a message, a PM tomorrow. Just say, reminding you of something, and then I'll tell you what it is. What toque is awesome. What am I wearing tonight? Is this a branded toque? I don't know. Is there a logo on it?
Probably
It's
not.
the Watchman.
Oh, it's the Watchman toque. Yeah, it's a nice one.
Radar, is that?
It's
The eyeball?
it's sort of that. The eyeball sort of came around then, but it's been around for a while. Yeah, it's the Hey Aunt Betty. Oh, we got a great Ron Bisonet. Excellent. Nice to see everybody. Some people have their prizes from a few weeks ago. Others are still on the way. Just working out a few details.
I'm sure Brian Finley has polished off all that beer.
Brian drank all his beer. Brian came here to collect them and drank them all on the step before he left.
Good for Brian.
But he was walking. And he said, I got to get my steps in, Ken. And off he went with his bright red Converse. We got John Wynot on the show, ladies and gentlemen. That's exceptionally exciting because it's a really cool perspective on music from this guy. He knows so much, and he's a really cool speaker. So we've got part 1 and 2 tonight, and then parts 3 and 4 are going to happen the week after next. Next week will be a different thing. But before we get to John, ladies and gentlemen, part 1, we're going to play a little song, brand new song called $1 a Day, and it goes just like this.
That's what I thought.
Oh, that's it.
1, 2, no, 1, 2. One, two, three. I was walking down the road when a stranger passed my way. He was empty in his business eyes. He made no move to step aside. He disregarded me. His brain was bleeding compromised. It would be a rude awakening if I knocked him down and stole away his shoes. There's no place that I'd rather be. That place is anywhere here but next to you. Well, you'll work harder with a gun in your back for $1 a day. You'll trade away your years, fight the fears they feed you for $1 a day. I stopped along the way to hear a politician speak. He stood to stand for something. He promised better futures for those of us who toed the line and got behind him. He grew ugly and unwise as he lied about the lies and how they made him feel. The cracks in his disguise grew wider and he could not longer try to conceal. Well, you'll work hard with a gun at your back for $1 a day. You'll trade away your years to fight the fears they feed you for $1 a day. gun at your back for $1 a day. You'll trade away your years to fight the fears they feed you for $1 a day. There you go. That was a fun time, Mr. Grant.
Yeah, it was great.
Excellent. Is it harvest time? Is
still
it harvest
waiting for
time
my
yet in
dollar.
Campbellford?
Yeah, it's harvest time.
Is it harvest time?
I would say.
Most everybody's going at it, yeah? Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but
Yeah. If you were to give advice on harvesting, it would be the time, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Sometime around now.
sometime around now,
Pick
yeah.
a nice day and go cut them down.
There you go. Well, just one frost away. We're not even one frost away
Yeah,
anymore.
well, you could wait for a frost, but
Why?
anymore it's you're taking a chance because the frost might not come till the end of the month, and
Right,
things have started to deteriorate by then. You don't want that to happen.
right. You want to
Happens
catch them
now.
right at the peak. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Blame it on global warming.
okay.
For sure.
Well,
Used to be a frost in September every year, but
that's
no
true.
more. Yeah.
That's true. Well, we'll advice
Adapt.
gardening advice with Mr. Grant. And now we're going to get into, I would say, music advice, but it's not even music advice. John Wynot, as much as, I've worked with him as a producer, I've worked with him as a musician, I've worked with him as a mixer, and we've been friends through all of it. And I don't know how to sum up John, but I love talking to him. I find him to be incredibly, incredibly intelligent, and his musical knowledge is vast, and I just love being around him. I absorb everything about him. So let's check out a little bit of John Wynot here on the Whiskey Wednesday show, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now starting with part 2 of part 1. And that doesn't make any sense to those of you just tuning in. But last week we were supposed to have John Wynot on as a guest, but the interview got erased thanks to my human error. That's the only thing I can blame it on, because it's the only thing that makes sense. But somehow it disappeared. So I've managed to grab Johnny again here now on Saturday afternoon. John's back in his home in LA, and we're going to catch up and try and sort of recreate that little bit of lightning in a bottle that we had with part 1 last time. And I'm going to start it off with a very similar question, welcoming our good friend, my good friend, and hopefully your good friend later, John Wynot, to the program. John is an old friend of mine. We're going on about 2 decades worth of friends. He's done several records with me. We've just spent a lot of social time together, and he's one of my favorite people to talk to on the phone. John is, back in the early days, John played with everybody from Corey Hart through to the band and Rick Danko, Carol Pope, Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. You've done albums with Dave Matthews, Lucinda Williams, Blue Rodeo, sound scores for Ronin. What were some of the other ones? The Austin Power movies, the Last of the Mohegans. Grammy winner. You've been around the world when it comes to music, John. You've done rock and roll. You've done symphonic arrangements. As a person, when I sit down and talk to you, you force me to listen to music like Arvo Pärer and Rachmaninoff, and really challenge my brain.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's one of the things that I love about you. But what I wanted to ask you, and what I was hoping we could sort of catch on, is the way that music has changed, in your opinion. We are 2 humans out of millions, living on this little rock, flying through time, and we're only here for a short time. But in this short time, like this, the last 100 years, music's changed so much. If you go back just past the 100 years, musicians were sort of non-entity people. They were people that, existed for their own passion. In the last 100 years, we've taken the notion of a rock star or a musician, made them celebrities, and made them into famous, rich, important, powerful people. That's a brand new thing for us. The question that I'm having these days, and what I'm trying to get my head around, John, is all these changes in music that have happened, like in the last 100 years in particular. It's gone from an oral tradition to a recorded medium, and now the recorded medium it's taken on a permanence that changes our listening experience. And we talked a little bit about that, but the biggest thing is the change in music and where it's come from. It came from, like I say, the oral tradition of trying to remember a story of something that happened. And then we got into melodic and pop, hooks that kind of, earworms that make our brain feel good. And now we're heading into a time where AI is taking over. And I mean, I'm not saying AI is going to be in forever, because I really don't think it is. I think it's going to have a place. But these are the questions that I'm wondering these days, is like, what's happening with music, and what's happening essentially with the younger generation doing music. And you being a professor at Berkeley, you are daily put in front of a select group of young musicians who are, starting out their world in a place where me and you look back and go, oh my God, what's happened? And they're looking at it afresh going, oh my God, what's coming up? So like, can you kind of put that together for me from your perspective, seeing these young kids and sort of seeing how they're adapting to the world and what you think has changed?
Well, that's a bit of a broad topic, but yeah, no problem. So that means they'll get us talking. Like, we need help talking. Like, what's one of our characteristics as friends is that we can just say, hey, what's going on? And we don't even bother talking about hockey. We just go directly to like philosophical shit. And
I know.
A little bit of gossip here and there, but anyway, we can keep it going. But yeah, to me, I'm constantly thinking. I'm not constantly thinking about it, but I do think about what's changed and how probably I think more about how we feel about the change and what our perceptions are of the changes. Because one of the things I've been kind of on lately is the idea that however it is when you start doing, like when I started being in recording studios or playing in bands, things were a certain way. And I mean, I know historically it's not true that it has always been that way, but there's a sort of kind of instinctive reaction to it that, oh, this is how it's always been. And so I'm stepping into an existing kind of structure that's relatively stable. And then along come these new things that screw it all up. And that's like, so you get a lot of that kind of, the good old days, and I'm not, just philosophically, I'm just not a believer in the good old days. There are days, that's it.
Yeah.
So I kind of take it as it comes, and I don't get too worried about, how it used to be and what's become of that the grand old tradition of what I was doing in the 80s, or this, like the first recording session I ever was at was in, I think, 76.
Wow.
17, and it was with actually Garth Richardson was there. It'd be really funny if he ever hears this. Garth was the same age as me, I think. He might have been a year younger, and his dad had a recording studio down in Yorkville called Schnine Recording, and he was partners with Bob Ezrin. I mean, this is we're talking the mid 70s. The 60s we could still smell the 60s. They hadn't completely decomposed yet, and I don't know what kind of goofy thing we were doing, but I remember thinking, man, this is a really, really cool thing. And that's kind of the basis of my studio experience was, a MCI 24 track, a J16 24 track. And I don't know what the console was. It might have been a Sound Workshop, or I don't know what they had in there, but it was something foreign to me at the time. And then there's some glass. And then on the other side of the glass, there's a room, has all this weird muffling stuff on the walls, lots of microphones and bits of gear and stuff. And I was playing Fender Rhodes with a talk box. Fender Rhodes threw a talk box in. Like, what the hell is going on? I don't know. I can remember the tune too. It was not a very good tune, written by the I won't name him because and I don't want to throw shade on him. He's a good guy. But anyway, and we're all high school kids basically. And but if I think back to that moment when, mid 70s, the idea of being in an independent recording studio with 24 tracks of gear and a bunch of preset mics and a sort of a situation like that, where you have a facility that's designed to be versatile and to accommodate wave after wave of artists and musician, whatever, that was less than 10 years old at that time. That was not a common thing. 10 years, 15, 20 years before that, in other words, in the blink of an eye before that, the studios were either owned by record labels and they were run by people who built them. And then that only, the guys, I mean, but just, for example, like, I mean, there's a couple of bigger, more famous facilities and stuff like that. Bill Putnam had built some stuff, but he built his shit in the early 60s. So it's 15 years before that, you think, man, that old, the grand old, classic room that is now East West Studios, that was United Western at one point. And I mean, they're not that old. So like, we think of it as a long tradition. It's not. There are no long traditions. We do everything really quick. And technology, the other thing also is, like, I think about also the kind of retrospective feeling that people have, because they're thinking, man, that was so cool when Led Zeppelin came out. And, it's so much less cool now. Like, we're just geeks now. Boy, those guys were super cool. And which, by the way, I don't know them very well. I don't really know them at all, but I think it's debatable how cool they were. But they were doing their, I mean, they made incredible records. Absolutely. So people are like, well, we want to record on a 1-inch 8-track. We want a Helios console. We want the same microphones, etc. And I can pretty much guarantee you that they were not thinking that way. They were not going, this modern recording here in 1968 it's kind of cheesy and crappy. We want to go back to the really old school stuff, the stuff that was back 50 years ago, which is 1918, which was like mechanical recording direct. I mean, they weren't thinking that. They were trying to be as modern as they could be. And that's one of the things that sort of changed, this idea that there's this long history. It's not very long.
No.
And they were, I mean, the gear they had was fine. It was good stuff, but it doesn't mean that because, you know what I mean? It's not that wasn't what made them cool either. It was like they recorded with the best gear they had. If they had 14 SM57s at Mackie 8 bus and 2 ADATs, they probably would have been able to make Led Zeppelin 1.
Yeah.
Might have been a bit of a challenge for Eddie, but I think they would have figured it out. And what would have mattered was what the group was doing and how that worked in the culture. That stuff is the same. The relationship also with the audience, I think, is in a lot of ways the same. There's a few things that are different, but there's subtleties, and they are all transitory. So another one of these concepts, like the idea of owning the music. Like, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy this 12-inch hunk of PVC that's in a custom-made box, with artwork on it or a photograph or something, and I'm going to take it home, and as long as I don't scratch it too badly, it will be mine. And that idea is a 20th century idea. Never existed before. If you wanted to buy a piece of music, you bought it on it that was printed, and your playback system was you and your fingers and your ability to read and play music, or your friends. If you wanted your music, you had to go where the musicians were. And the magic trick of being able to record it so that you could disconnect it from the moment and disconnect it from the geographic location and go somewhere else, to get a recording of Hoagie Carmichael, and then you could be on a boat, a naval boat in a harbor at Plymouth in the UK. You could be a Canadian naval person and have this little Victrola, and you could stick your Glenn Miller record on there or your Hoagie Carmichael record on there. And it wouldn't sound the same, but it would invoke the experience. And part of that was just the actual noise coming at you and the song and the idea and the cleverness of it. But the other part of it was there's a sort of technological shift in our consciousness where we can remove things from the original event and have something symbolic of it. And then in a way we relive it, but we don't relive it as if we're there. We're not hallucinating. We don't think, man, look inside the box. Where are those musicians? Like we never fooled like that. You know what I mean? But you'd be surprised how people assume that the idea behind recording is to have the same experience happen later on your speakers. It's not the same. It's symbolic of the experience. You're creating symbolism the same way storytelling is. Anyway, so I went kind of way off the deep end.
No, that's good. Actually, I like where you're going. That's good.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that it's different in some ways, but a lot of the stuff that connects with audiences is the same stuff that connected with audiences when recording first happened. And the big technological development, I think, was the notion of storing something that plays back in time, like music, and being able to move it someplace and being able to play it later, along with the notion of the simpler version of that, which is radio, which would break the geographic connection, but then you'd still be hearing stuff in the moment. And that took getting used to. People had to figure that out, but it didn't take very long. People adapt to this stuff really, really quickly, especially if other people are doing the same thing. So to me, that's really interesting. And it's still the same connection. You're still trying to invoke the idea of the whatever is expressed in the music later and somewhere else. That's it. And so how is it different with streaming? Well, we have I think a slightly less physical connection to it because we don't own it. So I don't know if you for sure made mixtapes for people. You might still do that. I don't know.
I haven't in a while, but yeah.
It's not the same as making a playlist for somebody.
No,
the playlist is, first of all, it's much faster, much more efficient. Woo, yay! More time to surf TikTok. Yeah. But also it's less intimate. Is this a big problem? No, it's just the next thing. I don't think it's a big problem.
It's true.
I mean, if you decide when you're born, this is it. We are at the perfect moment in history. We've reached the peak of our experience. Everything about technology, culture, human existence has gotten as good as it can get, and from now on, it's all downhill. There's a lot of people who think that way, and I just don't, because it doesn't comport with history. No.
Yeah, I've been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it at times. I mean, I'm aware enough to knock myself out of it, but there's been times where it's like, oh man, that was such a great time. Why can't things be like that? And blah, blah, blah. And I mean, there's two parts to it. This time is just as good as that time. It's just I'm in a different mood. And B, that time had a lot of shit too. I just chosen to forget about it. It's
history's a great filter. It's like, I'm having so much garbage in the top 100. Well, believe me, there was garbage in the top 100 in the 60s and the 50s.
Oh yeah.
And we just don't continue to play it. The stuff that we now play after all this time is the stuff that history's filtered out for us, and we kind of have that benefit of hindsight.
The benefit of hindsight, which filters out all the crap. What a great theory, actually. We can look back over the last 50 years and just pick the best. Call it classic radio. Is it called classic radio? No, what do they call it? Old-time radio? Nostalgia radio, classic radio.
I was watching an interview, Franny Leibowitz saying, it was fun. It was a lot more fun being in your 20s in the 70s than it is being in your 70s in the 20s. But again, that's just where you are at that time.
I guess. Yeah.
Very interesting. We got part two of John Wine-Up coming back after a couple songs. I'm just going to check on the message board here and see if anybody has any sort of things that I need to address. A musician always needs an extra guitar. Well, absolutely. I'm not even sure what part of the conversation that is, but it makes sense. Oh, they're just talking about having more and more guitars. I agree. However, I can tell you after... hey, Marty, Christy, Roberts, Van Don Tillart. I love Whiskey Wednesday. Never heard of this before now. Big up, Lisa Anthony. Well, there you go. Excellent. Welcome aboard. Just one frost has passed. It's been a good year. Exactly. Okay, well, it looks like everybody's having a great old chat here and enjoying the show. Okay, for those of you who are brand new to it, we are Music for Goats. We host the Whiskey Wednesday show every week out of Campbellford, Ontario. I have guests on that are people in my life that I know from all around the place. But playing music every week, as you can imagine, we have about 130 songs that we choose from. We're also in the middle of recording a new record, which we put those songs in, and I also work on new songs with the band. And last week I wrote a song. I haven't wrote a song in a long time. Last Monday I wrote a song. I played it last Wednesday. I think some of you remember I sort of played it 52 years old, I'm bored and tired and horny and stoned, listening to the Pixies on the radio in my car. I played the whole thing for you like that last week, just to get it out of my system. Thank you for bearing with me. And then on Monday this week, the guys came over for dinner, and I said, we're going to learn the tune. Monday afternoon, I was lying in bed, and I had some ideas, and we sat here, and we chatted about a few ideas, and came up with some groovy parts and put them together. Now, whether we can remember them or not, let's just go around the room. Neil, are you going to remember the parts?
J'espère.
French for?
I hope.
Mr. Grant, are you going to remember the parts?
I have despair. I'll remember some of them.
Well, I have despair. You can borrow them if you like.
And David, how about you, my friend?
J'espère sans despair.
Wow. Okay, good.
The optimist.
Hope, no worry. Gotcha. Okay. Me, I'm pretty sure I'm going to mess it up, but anyways, here we go. So I just got to remember that we do that little extension on the second chorus and the last chorus out, and then there's the down section as well. Right? Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, birth of a brand new song.
When we stop.
Birth of a brand new song with the band.
This could be interesting. No, it will be interesting.
It will be.
It'll be fucking great. It'll be fucking great.
52 years old, I'm bored and tired and horny and stoned, listening to the Clash on the radio in my car. I'm missing you, I'm missing me, I'm missing them. It's hard to believe it's been so long since 1984. I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone. Listening to the Clash record playing, and I'm scratching at my head and saying, where have all the good times gone? I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone. It's one of 1,000 shows I'm super excited to see off though, trying to find my way into believing. Idol's the band, missing stereo, missing bass, missing 2K in my face, missing something righteous, something dangerous. I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone. Listening to the Clash record playing, and I'm scratching at my head and saying, where have all the good times gone? I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone. I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already. This is the last cool night of summer, digging through ashtrays once again. What a time we've had. Good night and God bless. I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone. I won't hear you calling on the telephone, scratching at my head, thinking where have all the good times gone? I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone. I won't hear you calling, 'cause I'm already gone.
Go 70% right, not bad.
Well, you know, apart from those two inadvertent C minors. That
No,
I
it's
played.
okay. They tend to jump out at you a little bit. They tend to jump out at you a little bit.
C minus.
I just wanted to take the pressure off you guys.
Right,
you know,
right,
because,
right.
yeah.
Throw a few
And I
clams in
think
early.
I did an excellent job. I think. Yeah, so, yeah.
You open the doorway for everybody else. Oh, I think I'll throw one out too.
Yeah, exactly. What the heck, eh?
Hey, songs in the works, ladies and gentlemen. It all happens here on the Whiskey Wednesday show. Where else are we going to get better? Well, we could rehearse not in front of people, but you know. Another cool thing about that song is Neil's new guitar is fitting in. We got a picture of Neil's guitar. Let's see this guitar, man. This is a cool looking thing. Look at that. Look at that beauty old guitar. That's made by Lewis Parker out of East City Guitars in Peterborough. And those are the 72 pickups that you bought?
That's right, 1972.
1972 Fender pickups that Neil bought to put in a guitar and just now has them in his guitar. So those pickups are 74 years old?
No, I'm 74 years old. The pickups are 50.
Oh, okay.
Well, 51 now.
51 now, okay. Well, it's a beautiful guitar. The sparkle is gorgeous. Even when I posted that picture today, even Chris Stapley said, "That's a lovely sparkle." And he's the guy who does all the car stuff, all the fancy.
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
So, he knows what he's talking about when
Yes,
it comes to
does,
paint
yeah,
jobs.
yeah. And the other neat thing about that, of course, is I got this super duper guitar strap. And it says
cool.
NL on it, which are my initials.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about that is that when I first met Ken, it was, you know, he was playing somewhere or the other around here, and he had Ron Hines' guitar strap that had NL on it. But of course, in that case, it stood for Newfoundland. But, you know, I had to say, you know, you've never even heard me play, and you're a fan of mine. He was like, what?
Yeah, I just thought he was nuts. I didn't know what I wasn't making. He's like, Neil Lucy's my name. You've got my name on your strap. It says NL. It doesn't say Neil Lucy. I didn't even clue into that till later, but yeah. But yeah, no, that one says NL, and then it says Old Goat.
Old Goat, yes.
Yeah,
I don't know why it says that.
I'm not sure either.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I think it was supposed to be Bold Goat.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
could be.
Cold Goat.
Or Gold Coast or something like that. Yeah, not Gold Coast. No,
No,
probably
Gold Coast,
not.
not Goalpost.
Oh, Goalpost.
Goalpost.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You used to play soccer.
I did. Yes, indeed. I quit last year. I was getting a bit too old.
Another song, and then we're going to play some the other part of John Wina. This is a... we haven't released this one yet, have we?
It's a Ken Tizzard original.
Yeah, but it hasn't been released yet.
Like all the others, amazing.
So.
Oh, we can still do a video for this one. I think Other Side of Wrong will be
still
next on the
change it.
release list. We can still change it, exactly. Let's try Morrissey there, ladies and gentlemen. C, right?
See,
Minor?
see.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
For once in my life, I'm feeling sorry for people around me who think I'd be better off dead, or at least being quiet. It didn't take much to get it started. Some simple words between two friends. But then again, a spark can burn your whole house down. My guardian angel has a voice like Morrissey. He'll call you out and he'll make you his fool. You stopped making sense shortly thereafter. You wished you'd never opened your mouth. You chose to hide behind the lie that someone else gave you. My guardian angel has a voice like Morrissey. You call you out and make you his fool. My guardian angel has a voice like Morrissey. He's cruel and sublime and appropriately ill. I couldn't quite take the pressure. The pressure was more than I could take. So I filed it away, and I thought maybe I'll come back to it a little later. I heard your name through a friend today. He apologized for bringing you up. I said, that's all right. I was over it before it even started. My guardian angel has a voice like Morrissey. He'll call you out and he'll make you his fool. My guardian angel has a voice like Morrissey. He's cruel and sublime, appropriately ill.
you go, a little Morrissey for you. I watched some recent video of Moz doing his solo thing, singing some of my favorite Smiths tunes. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. At his age, he's still out strutting around, ripping his shirt off. Yeah, as you would do.
And his voice still sounds like a guardian angel.
Yeah, it's. I don't hear him doing as much of the falsetto, but maybe I just haven't heard those songs. I don't know. He's still pretty great, though. I mean, I'm still on the fence with Morrissey because of what happened to the bass player and the drummer. Sort of having to go after Mara and Morrissey for money years after the band. Like they never got paid, and they ended off in a big battle. And I think the bass player took a buyout, and it was like not very much money.
A lot of bands went down that road.
Yeah, it was a really tough thing, but. Anyways, let's get back again to the music and the esoteric values of music and why it makes a connection with us, which is kind of, I think, what John is getting at. He has so much value in his words, but check it out. I'm pretty sure you might understand even more of it after this next video. Here's some more John Wynott.
One of the amazing things about art is that great art changes you, and the greatest art changes you and reveals yourself to you. It shows you how your consciousness works. That's one of my operating theories of what is art.
Oh, okay.
And film is great for that because it actually shows us how we think, how we track a story is built into how the actual medium works. And that's modern enough that we can see it, which to me is amazing. So I'm a total, I'm a freak for this stuff. And I try and tell 20-year-olds this stuff, and they're like, "Okay, Mr. Magoo, like, what are you talking about?"
Well, they don't
have Mr. Magoo as a cultural landmark because they didn't know who Mr. Magoo was. Like people say, "Oh yeah, well, with studios we had to build stuff. I had to hack together cables, so I had to become MacGyver." They're like, they don't know who MacGyver was.
Right.
It's too far back in history. So, but anyway, so it's the whole come unstuck in time, Billy Pilgrim. What's gone on? How's the world falling apart? It's nothing like it was. I don't understand it. This is just normal. This is how humans are when they get older. And if they have the privilege to live long enough, it all looks foreign and weird. And that's fine. That's not a sign that things are foreign and weird, particularly. They may be, but that's not the sign. That's not the indicator. So I feel good about that. I also hang around with 20-year-olds.
Tell me a little bit about that. So you're working at Berkeley.
Yeah.
You've got a class of
like I don't go to like the park where they're playing and hang around. I mean, I haven't where they show up,
but you've got a select group of kids. So Berkeley has a very small yearly admittance or semester admittance. It's quite pricey. It's not exclusive per se, but it's not a college with thousands of kids coming through you. You're getting pretty close to these kids. Talk a little bit about that experience if you to try and sort of shed light on this. Like the kids, I'm really fascinated with. Like I remember when I decided I wanted to play music, my parents were like, "Okay, you can play music or you can go to school, but you can't do both. And depending on which you choose, you have a place to live." So I packed up my bass guitar and went and moved in with a friend. And that was the end of my family experience with my family having any say in my music career. I was going to play music. I was a Newfoundlander. I liked punk rock music. I had no teaching in my, I'd never had a teacher. I barely knew scales, but I just knew I wanted to do this. And I set out, with $60 in my pocket and one change of clothes, and I moved halfway across the country and I slugged it out and slugged it out and slugged it out. And I'm 55 years old and I'm still slugging it out, even though I've been luckier than a lot of people. I know my reasons for continuing to do music, but it seems like the kids nowadays, even in light of, there's no music, it's too rapidly changing, everything is the same, it's all Spotify and YouTube. There's still kids who are like, that's okay, I'm going to do that. And that's the kids that you're seeing. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yeah. Berkeley's an interesting place. First of all, people know about it. And particularly musicians know about it. And it is a specialty school. There are some sort of neighboring specialties there too, but it's absolutely a music school. And by comparison, my house in LA is just down the road from a place called USC, which is a great music school and a great film music school, a great film school, etc. And hey, you see the door open?
Oh yeah, it's just
somebody peeked in. It's all good. And so we may get a visitor, but That
That's
would,
okay.
yeah, it'd be fine. Um, but USC, which has all that stuff, I was talking to a friend of mine who was working there, and he said, "Yeah, it's cool, but the difference is that Berkeley doesn't have Berkeley does not have a football team. They don't have a medical school. They don't have a law school, etc." I mean, I'm short selling USC. It's probably 10, 20. I don't even know how many people are at USC, but it's many times the size of Berkeley. Berkeley's a small college. It's not that exclusive, but there's a built-in exclusivity in the cost. Boston's expensive. It's a private school. There's a lot of facilities there. Living there is expensive. You if you're going to go there without some kind of scholarship or other kind of ride in there, it's going to cost you
A lot of money.
It's a big deal. And my personal feeling is, I actually think the idea of trying to, make it a richer kind of more of a exclusive kind of a experience, I think is wrong. I think they should be lowering the bars as much as possible, and to a certain extent, the philosophy of that school is pointed towards that. But of course, there's you want to. They still are considered by some to be the best in the world, and that's a debatable point. I think they're really good, but there are things about a college that are just sort of weird. But anyway, and it was weird. They hired me almost random. I was just sort of poking around, and I interfaced with somebody on this thing called the Facebook. You might have heard of it. It was it was like MySpace, only yeah. Anyway, it's still around. I actually was off of it for a long time at the advice of our mutual friend Jake. Jake said, "Hey, you should deactivate that. Your life will get better." And you know what? He was right. Anyway,
yeah.
Back a long story. Don't want to get there, but anyway, so the population I have in front of me is exclusive in a way, partly because they were inspired to seek that place out. And if you seek it out and you can figure out the money, you're in. It's like there are auditions and stuff, but they're flexible. You don't have to read music. You don't have to. It depends who you are. If you come there saying, "I want to be a virtuosic guitarist," they're going to expect that you're going to learn how to read, or at least figure out some substitute for that. So it's definitely, there's some of that. But the department that I teach in is music production engineering, and that is selective. The major is selective. It's competitive, and people have to, they're there for 2 semesters, and then they apply for it, and they have to convince us. And I'm on the committee that picks these people. And so, and that's fascinating, because the people from all over the world are doing this. And so the population that's in front of me, and I tend to teach seniors. I'm not that involved in the kind of incoming part of it. I'm not doing the sort of early technical stuff. That's just random. I could do that stuff, but it's just, I'm stuck usually with kids who are about to graduate. I say kids, they're fully adults. They're usually in their early 20s. And so they're
almost adults.
It's not a cross section of the population, I don't think. I mean, I don't know, because I don't know the cross section of the population, but it's not. I think it's likely skewed in some directions. Both, I think, culturally, the idea that they're focused on music. Also, I think just in terms of intellectually, I think they're pursuing things that are a little bit more long term and a little bit more. Most of them are thinking like artists and thinking like on that kind of heavy, sort of adult scale. Like they're really trying to work this stuff out. So they're cool, but they're 20. They're they're like the fresh young end of Gen Z.
Yeah.
Several generations removed from me. And so it's really interesting to kind of, first of all, to try and understand how they see the culture and what are they looking for and what they pick up on. And they never disappoint. They're not all great students, but they're generally speaking, the level of discourse is amazing. And if I get them interested in, and we get talking about the cultural side of things, they, of course, they're out of college. They want to figure out what all this stuff does. They want to learn the things.
Yeah.
And that's cool with me, but I'm not that interested. I'm less interested in the things. I'm more interested in broader concepts. And so if I poke them enough and tell enough jokes and kind of get them engaged, they actually are. They're totally there. It's amazing. They're thinking on intellectual levels. They may not be well read particularly, because they're this kind of specialist in what they're doing, but what they're into, they know, and they have lots of knowledge, and they get deep into it, and they work really hard to try and, they're trying to be there for 3 or 4 years and get out with some kind of idea, something that they can turn into a business or whatever. And they're all in, they're just like I was, just like you were probably. Well, I mean, you just told the story of how you were, just like we were. We were told that it was a bad idea to be a musician. Well, the entire culture is telling them that now, I mean, I think the entire culture was telling us that too, probably.
I think so.
So guitar is all right, John. You can't make a living out of it. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's generally true. You know, it's a
Yep.
few that can do it. And, you know, I've been very fortunate, and I didn't you know, I mean, I can make my resume sound good with you. So you can make my resume sound pretty good too. You just did that quite
Yep.
well, but it's not that notable. It's good enough. It keeps me going. I'm still into it. And I'm still challenged. But anyway, I sort of backed into this gig. I was 55 years old. And I said, you know, one thing led to another, a couple of conversations, a meeting, a presentation, all improvised by me, no plan. Just kept saying, well, would you be interested in this? I'm like, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. It's just weird enough. It could be kind of cool. Literally it.
Yeah.
And then it turned out we were very simpatico. And the thing that attracted me to the place was, apart from the marquee value of it, what really attracted me was the other people there that were teaching already. I didn't know the students. I didn't have much experience with people 30, 40 years younger than me. So, but I figured I'll find out, you know, but the people that were working there were really cool. They thought like I did. They were, I don't mean necessarily philosophically or politically, but they were digging in the same way that I've been digging. They're looking for the bigger truths, and they're finding it fascinating still. And I still do find it fascinating, including the top 100 on Billboard. I'm interested in that stuff. Because it's not the same. It isn't static. It's completely, it's like a stampede of craziness. All sorts of different things go on there. Do I listen to it? Do I care about it? Do I relate to the topics? No, I don't.
Yeah.
Most of the songs are about trying to get laid in a bar.
Yeah.
And that's just not something I'm doing.
They've been singing songs about getting laid in a bar for fucking as long as I can remember.
Yeah. You know, and
I mean, that's also what people between 19 and 30 try and do, you know?
Oh yeah. And if it's men writing it, they're writing about the way women look.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
it's like, well, that's kind of shallow. It might be shallow, but it's wired into our you know, species or whatever, or any species. I don't know. Anyway, but fine. I don't relate to it like that, but I hear the creativity of it, and it's high end. There's a lot of work that goes into this stuff. It doesn't always nail me in the terms of the way Rachmaninoff might. Although once in a while I hear something amazing, and not everybody agrees with it. You know, there's a Cardi B song that I think is fantastic, and I was like, I absolutely relate to it. Which I think it's called Careful or Be Careful with Me. It's like, and it's just a cheesy little pop song, but man, it's really good. It's really expressive, and it's like, and it's funny, and but heartfelt. Like it's also serious. You know, I'm like, okay, like
that's interesting.
I hate this. You know, I have to be a little careful about loving it, because it can kind of ruin it for a 20-year-old. If a 64-year-old person goes, "That's great," you know, they're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, exactly. Damn.
The old Lemmy thing, you know, like if you remember what Lemmy saying about rock music, the idea is to make music that your parents hate.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I mean, now they're not all wired to the top 40 either, or top 100 either. They have their various things that they love, and they're trying to turn into music and trying to figure out how to make business out of it and stuff. So they're exploring, but they're all in. They're not the callow youth myth. It may exist. It doesn't show up in my classrooms at all. The people that show up in front of me are serious, and
they're ready to go.
And yeah, they're challenging. I wake up in the morning going, I got to bring some game here, because they can totally step around me. They're really smart, and it's the cure for that kind of gray-haired pessimism people have.
Through combination of randomness, being available, having a slightly service-oriented mindset, which is I haven't always had, but definitely have it now. I got through an accident. I got this call from Berkeley to come and teach, and I said yes. And I didn't say yes right away. I thought about it, because I thought, what the hell am I doing there? But I had a chat with a friend of mine. And he said, you don't say no to this. If it doesn't work in 2 years, go back and tell everybody the stories of it. And I mean, he was right. And I was 55 years old, and I became entry-level educator, and I still feel like that's been 9 years, and I still feel that way, and it's nerve-wracking and fear-provoking, but man, what a gift that is.
Yeah,
like I'm 64, and I'm still thinking about the next 10 years of work, and I'm not thinking of it. I mean, partly because my mom lived until she was 98. I better make some dough. Because if I just stop now, I won't have enough. But I mean, so okay. But the beautiful thing is, it's the challenge is what floats my boat, and it's not always 100%. I'm not skipping through the daisies every day, but it's a fantastic gift to find something that I can't do that they want me to do. They want what I got. They want me to get better at it. They'll help me get better at it. And then also the students who are there are investing in it, so my alarm goes off in the morning and I wake up going, holy shit, I have to bring these people something valuable.
And you do.
They are not dumb. They're smarter than me. So I can't really fake it. I mean, I am sort of faking it, but I can't, so, I mean, if you want my idea of, this is not what I was planning to do. I'm not sure what I was planning to do, but it involved being a rock star, I think. But video killed the radio star there pretty good. But,
how cool at 64 years old to be, Jesus Christ, living the dream is, there are some of us who have lucked out. I consider myself amongst them too. John, thank you so much for taking your time twice now to chat on the show. And of course, thank you for hanging out with me as we do every now and again. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is John Wynot. He's an old friend. He is a musician who has been in the business for as long as anybody I know, and he has hit through every angle. And at the end of the day, what I'm taking from you, John, is that the kids are as eager to do it as we were, and as much as we had everything stacked against us, they have everything stacked against them too, but they're still going to find a way to do it. They're still going to find a way to get out and make their noise in a room with other people. And I think that's what is going to keep it alive myself. I think the live thing is that connection between humanity is what we're looking for in most everything. And I think that music is a really good example of that. You can share life experiences, you can share philosophies, you can share political activism, whatever you want. And it's good to hear that the kids are still doing it. I see it in my kids, but it's good to hear from a.
Look at us all back here. Look at us all back. I'm on feedback here. Woohoo! Man, I love talking to John. He's so great. He's such a great friend and so awesome to have somebody in my life that has the wealth of knowledge that he has, and he actually enjoys hanging out and talking to me. It's incredible. It's fucking great. So glad that I could bring that all to you guys. Mr. Grant has experienced it before. You worked with John Wynot on 2 records, right?
Yeah, well, the one mostly with
Bad Intent,
with Fisher and Bad Intent. Yeah,
right. Yeah, we spent like a week or 10 days down in Toronto at Blue Rodeo's place with him. Yeah, eating over.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, what was the name of that beautiful Greek restaurant we went to every night? Oh,
no, I don't.
Something or other. I'll remember it. Really, really nice. Great stuff.
But he kept things light in the studio. He always had a joke, as he was saying, keep things light and keep it rolling.
Oh, he kept everything going. He was great. Well, we'll have John Wynot back on in a couple of weeks. Next week, we have Winnipeg Revisited, I guess, or Winnipeg recap video. Yes, going to Winnipeg. A couple things going on out there over the weekend, which will be a lot of fun. And Neil will be with me, so there'll be lots of video of him when he does not want to be videoed, either eating or sleeping or any of those things. So that'll all be there. It'll be a fun time. Next week will be great. If you're in Winnipeg this weekend, I look forward to seeing you for coming out to the show. If you're not coming out to the show and you're in Winnipeg, I was going to say, let me know. I'll see if I can get together for a coffee, but that's actually a stupid schedule. But either way, reach out, say hi. We're going to end with a song tonight, a song called The Good and Goodbye. After this, stay tuned for the video rewind. Tonight we're going back to the very first ever Ken Tizzard video. Very first Ken Tizzard solo video ever made. Going back to that. Actually, there was one before, but it wasn't a Ken Tizzard wasn't in it, as I talk about myself in the third person. I hear that makes Ken Tizzard sound smarter.
Good luck with that.
That's apocryphal for sure.
It's been a fun night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really good. Thank you guys for coming out.
Our pleasure.
How are you liking the new drums there, Dave? Nice set of Mapex. They're Canadian made, right? Not anymore? Never were? Oh, where are they from?
Taiwan.
Cool. But Mapex is a Canadian company, right?
No.
No.
No. Apex is actually was started in Nashville.
Excellent.
Was bought
You
by a
mean
company.
Nashville's not part of Canada?
No.
I didn't know
No,
that.
I only found out last week, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
well, see,
shocking.
there's two of us there.
Wow. So they're not made in Canada and they're not made in. Okay, cool. They're still nice drums.
Thank
you know.
Thank
Why
you.
do I feel like they're Canadian? I guess it's because they're such a long McQuaid standard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Plus, it sounds like maple, you know.
It does. Well,
True.
that was part of the idea
That's
behind the
pretty
name.
Oh yeah, it does
Yeah.
kind of sound like maple. You're right.
Yeah.
Ah, because of the wood.
The wood, yeah.
And the syrup.
But the other
Been a nice thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're
Very
going to end
sweet of
tonight
you.
with the good and goodbye. Thank you for tuning in once again. For those of you sharing the word and spreading it out to your friends and asking them to come and hang out and watch the show with us, we appreciate that. That is how this is going to grow. Not that growth isn't important. We're really happy with our group the way it is. There's a song called The Good and Goodbye. It goes just like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You don't love me no more, baby. You don't love me no more, my sweet baby. Oh, you don't love me no more. Each night I see the truth behind those eyes, but I just don't see the good, so goodbye. To holler like a freight train, you don't holler no more, my sweet baby. Oh, you don't holler no more. Each day I try to see the truth behind your eyes, but I just don't see the good, so goodbye. So lucky, not lucky no more. I used to be so rich in love, now I'm not even dirt poor. Each night I try to see the truth inside your eyes, but I just don't see the good, so goodbye. You don't love me no more, babe. Oh, you don't love me no more, my sweet baby. Oh, you don't love me no more. Each night I see the truth behind those eyes, but I just don't see the good, so goodbye. Neil forgot where he was.
Neil took his stupid pills tonight.
Oh my. Little good and goodbye. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Barry, thank you for coming across the street. How's that shoulder doing, buddy?
It's okay. It feels pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And how's the Champex burnout happening? Is it
That's going great, actually. I
Excellent.
think I only had 5 smokes today,
Oh man, so good for you.
which is really good.
Good for you. Excellent. Good stuff. Well,
Happy.
keep going with that.
Yeah.
Barry, G, Neil, thanks for coming over. Stanley's got a seat in the back there now. He likes that. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Allison, for helping me getting the lighting done on all of the pictures. I'm sure you'll have notes for the framing and everything. It looks like Neil might be a little low. His head might be touching. Well, at least we don't have that big Neil crotch shot that we had a few weeks ago. Oh my God, I got to get a picture of that. The camera was like,
You wouldn't believe the fan. You know.
I know it was when Barry was moving the cameras around, and it was when we only had the one camera, and he kept moving it. At one point, it was just like a big sort of crotch shot of Neil with his shorts on. I was like, whoa, that's a interesting 3 minutes of Neil's crotch. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's been so much fun once again. Thank you guys for coming over. We're going to check out the video rewind, but before we do, try and be nice to each other, be kind, be friendly, be wary, and be Larry. Try to be like Steve. And the video rewind coming up right now is for All Because of You. Check it out.
It's all because of you. I never said it, but I wanted to. It's all because of you. You say it's not because of me. I'm just being what I need to be. What else did you want from me? Besides the pain, nothing lost, nothing gained. And if it takes you a lifetime to figure out, I'll be waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you. You left a letter on the bed, scratched beside the cigarettes, telling me the things you do for me. I never wanted to believe, never wanted anyone to see the mess you'd left behind for me. Besides the pain, nothing lost, nothing gained. And if it takes you a lifetime to figure out, I'll be waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you, for you. It's all because of you. I never said it, but I wanted to. It's all because of you. Because of you, because of you, because of you. Besides the pain, nothing lost, nothing gained. If it takes you a lifetime to figure out, I'll be waiting, I'll be waiting, I'll still be waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you, waiting for you.
Once again, thanks for spending another Wednesday with us here at Storyhouse Studios. Thanks to Trainer, Yorkville, and the Longtooth Beverage Company for being a part of the show. We love our time on the Whiskey Wednesday show and appreciate all of your support. Don't forget to hit up the tip jar if you feel so inclined. Never expected, but always appreciated. Tune in every week for more guests, songs, stories, drinks, and gear talk. And don't forget to visit the website, www.kentizzard.com, to sign up for the Whiskey Wednesday wrap-up. Compiled by Allison, this is a monthly overview with highlights, directories of songs, and so much more. Be kind, be helpful, be happy, be safe. See you next week.